starting the game, starting from your own campaign. So I've restarted my game just to make sure everything's all cleared out. We still got the background, that's fine. That's not going to affect anything, and it will go away. However, I look at the campaigns. I don't want to do any. That's fine. We just exit out of this window, and the first thing we'll do is we'll think about, okay, well, what do we want in the campaign? Go up to here, the content, and then down the scene. Set your setting. So let's say I want to make, let's make a standard fantasy campaign, but I'm the only wizard in it. No one else has access to magic. We'll roll with that. So in this case, we might be like, oh, this is a, or no, I'll just say low. We don't have to say this is a low fantasy. Yeah, we'll just go low fantasy. Filled with only humans, elves, and dwarves. So in this case, I'm specifying the setting, but I'm also specifying that who I want in the setting. So you don't have to do that. But in this case, I don't want it to generate things like, tieflings or halflings. I just want humans, elves, and dwarves. So I could probably just put, Tolkien races in there and get what I want. Well, minus the hobbits. Genre. So here in genre, this is going to be kind of what kind of story in this? Well, in this case, this is going to be a adventure story. So we can just put adventure, or we can put something like a party of mercenaries. Game loop. This is, think of it as, you get the hero's journey kind of cycle where you'll continually kind of have a singular loop that the game will revolve around. This isn't going to stop you from having freedom in what you're doing, but it's generally, okay, what should the game guide you towards? So in this case, say we are traveling mercenaries and looking for contracts by nobles. Yeah, we are mercenaries looking for contracts by nobles or otherwise. Those are your three main important ones in this window. Now you can set the date if you want, or the game will automatically set one. Same with time. Location description, I want it set, and down here, party position, you do not have to set. But if you do want to set it, we'll do that in the world menu, which we will go over since we are doing our own campaign. So we'll close out of that. And the next thing we want to do is game rules. So you do not have to use game rules. However, if you want to add, let's say I wanted to add a management aspect to my game. Or, for example, the magic rule. I want to be the only one with magic. Well, let's say my character's name is going to be, Jack the Smith. I can be like, okay, Jack the Smith is the only character that has access to use magic. I could put that, or let's say I want to put a management aspect to the game. Specifically, let's say I want a group of followers. So the party has a group of followers that should be accounted for. And then here's what I'm going to do. So the AI notes is where it stores notes. By default, AI will use these notes to plan out the story and what's going on in the story. However, you can tell it to use the notes for other things as well. So I can be like, keep track of what followers, what they do, their equipment and prowess in the AI notes. Okay. So after that, I close out of that, and that will save. Now, we will generate our smith. Say, Jack the Smith. Additionally, just for the purposes of speed, I'm going to put the Pro model down to Flash. That way we're not waiting too long, but generally I would suggest using the Pro model. A blacksmith who can use magic. He's going to be short, stubby, almost dwarf-like. Put him in the party, and we'll hit generate. Now we'll wait for him to be added to the party, and while that happens, I'm gonna have us open the world map. So this is the first time I've shown the world map. Reminder for how fast it generates, which is the amount of cores it's using. You can adjust it in here. I'm gonna put 20 cores. So this automatically goes the amount of cores in your PC -1, and then it sets it by default to -2. However, you may want to put this down. It's up to you. But I will put that down to 20. And then here, I'm going to initialize the map. So I got two main types of maps here. There may be more coming in the future, but this is what there is as of this update. We have the world map and we have the galaxy. So the galaxy is kind of, let's say you're doing a space campaign and you want the scale of the map to be planets, not, regions on a planet or, a kilometer's distance. And you go into the game settings and you'll set it to light years or whatever. You can do all this here. But I'm going to stick to the world settings, and I like to put it around, 80, 70, 80 chunks. And you'll see what a chunk is shortly. Global scale for short range travel, I usually keep it around this. But if you're wanting to do like a campaign where you're focusing more on empire politics, and you don't want these huge grids of between locations, then you can put this global scale much further down. Or if you want it more zoomed in, you can put it up. But I think ideally most campaigns you want it at 75. Sea level, the way this affects it is that the higher the sea level is, the more that it's covering land. So if you're up here, you're going to have like almost nothing in terms of island. If you're down here, you're going to be like all continental land masses. But I tend to find I like 45. We'll see how that generates some moisture and temperature. These affect the type of biomes that are there. Generally, you'll get grasslands, maybe a little bit of savanna, maybe a little bit of desert, tundra, snowy biomes. But we'll leave this at default for now. So, and you can also put a seed here, but I'm going to initialize the map, and you'll see it begins to create the map. So we are off in the water at the moment. We're not gonna want that. Well, we're gonna want to be, we'll put ourselves here. So, and one thing about this map is that the AI has some contextual awareness of the map. The AI can see what terrain you're on, and then it kind of shoots out a ray out in each direction, and it sees where the closest different terrain is in that direction. So here it's going to see river. Here it's probably going to see this river, and then it's going to see this forest here, and here. And over here it's going to see this river. So it knows this grassland's going out until at least, in this kind of polygon. So it has a little bit of awareness, and it knows which one's directly above it, below it, to the right, and to the left. It's done this way, that way we can pass as little as possible to the AI, while we're still keeping what could be determined possibly the most relevant information. So, I've set us on a location, and the AI is going to use this when we end up generating. So I'm going to close this for now. This map will automatically save when you save your game. When you load your game, it will load it. It's stored alongside the save file, not in the save file, but if you export it as a campaign, it will be in the campaign file. The campaign file is essentially just a zip file. So we got Jack Iron Fist Smith here. We see it, filled out everything for us as expected. And then we're going to remove all these messages. So the last thing we'll check before we start is we'll go here and we'll say, okay, are these three right here, Distance units, unit between grid points, and currency name. I'm going to keep the distance and the units between it the same. However, currency name instead of crowns, let's go with gold. Now, when you save your game and you load back into it, it will load these settings from that game. So you don't have to worry about having to change this every time you load back into the game. It will change it back for you. So if I go back to my gladiator save, it'll have denaries instead of gold. And if I load this one, it'll go back to gold instead of denaries. However, now, I have this handy dandy little generate initial prompt for you. And essentially what this will do is it will set the scene. It'll create a location for you to start in. And it'll kind of it gives a little bit of instructions to the AI to put into his AI notes. And then it introduces the scene to you and likely has a sort of character interaction to it. So I set it to Gemini Flash instead of Gemini Pro. I usually don't do that for generating initial prompt, but I'm going to just for this. So you can see here it's generating content. Now, whenever you see this bar up here at any time, which will be after a interaction, I would suggest you don't do any further inputs until it's done, because and there's the text to speech.
A vibrant tapestry
so let me.
Wagons laden with goods rumble past, their wooden wheels.
It's not going to change the volume because it's already playing.
Path, while the aroma of freshly baked bread wafts from a nearby bakery, mingling with the earthy scent of drying hides.
Probably should have disabled that.
Tang of the smithy.
So I'm going to mute the audio here for a second. But you see it's now generating a secondary location. So if we go to the world map, move this, we can see it generated the Oak Haven Crossroads. We open up the location info, which we can also do it from here, current location. Oh, it hasn't actually moved us there. So if it doesn't move you to the location, it just now did. So we go to current location. And it usually, so these actions, it usually does it once it's done fully generating. I suppose it was not fully done and it was still processing some things. But now we're here and you see it generated an image for it. And we can take our little guy and we can just drag him in here. So a neat little thing about these stickers is that if you put down a sticker of a character who's not in the party, when you leave this area, their sticker will stay here. And so when you come back to this area, their sticker will appear. If they're in the party, the sticker will go from location to location as you travel around. So this is where it started us. And this is in the Oak Haven Crossroads. So we can look here and we can see sublocations. There's also the Weary Traveler Inn that we can go to. But I've set up the campaign and I've done the initial message. If we go to AI notes, you'll see that AI has made some notes. Let's see. It's saying that we have unique magical smithing abilities. He's the only character known with direct access to magic among the current group. And it has a group of followers whose details need to be tracked when they're introduced. So it doesn't look like it knows who our followers is. I didn't give it any specific information. But for example, in my mercenary company campaign, I tell it they start with 20 swordsmen. So it will start you with 20 swordsmen. But in this case, I haven't defined it, but once it is defined, it will put them in here. And you can kind of see here that it's kind of planned out, its long-term campaign plan. Again, you might not want to look at this if you don't want to be spoiled on what the AI kind of wants to do with your campaign. But at the same time, if you want to change it up a bit or give it new ideas, you're able to do that. And that is how you start from your own campaign.